Welcome to Coach's Comments presented by Southside Auto Tech. I'm Cristiano Simonetta, joined alongside by Stars head coach Rocky Russo. And Rocky, 5-2 loss for your group against the Omaha Lancers. It's another situation for the second night in a row. You dropped 2 goals behind in the first 9 minutes. What was the root cause of tonight's situation?
First of all, it's a little bit of a Morgan here. I know we lost, but it was a pretty fun night. There's a lot of people here, right? We're not going to win every hockey game, folks. We didn't play well enough to win tonight. They're kids. That happens. We didn't do what we do, right? Like, we know what our identity is. Anybody that follows the Stars, watches the team, knows what we're made of and how we compete and how we play and the pressure that we put on teams and the net front presence that we generally play with, and tonight we didn't do that, right? We didn't stand in front of a very good goalie at all. We did one time, we scored a goal. The rest of the game, we stood next to him, we stood around him, we played a little bit perimeter hockey. Could the guys maybe be a little bit tired? Sure, probably. It was a lot of ice time for a lot of guys yesterday, but that's no excuse. They're all in great shape, but we just didn't play well enough to win. And, you know, I can sit here and talk about maybe a few calls that could have been made early in the game. It is what it is. Those are things that we cannot control. We can control our compete level, our energy, and our effort. And those are the things that we didn't really have for 60 minutes. The first part of the game, you know, I just told the guys yesterday, we weren't prepared to play at the puck drop. Today we weren't prepared to play at the puck drop. That's on them to be mentally prepared when the puck drops to play the game. And Omaha was ready and we weren't. And so before you know it, we're down 2-0 and we're playing the chasing game all game instead of being ready to go.
And then Antonio Fernandez, he scores for the 3rd consecutive game. Talk about these kids developing, and we've broken down Tony's ascension with his offense and the way he's shifting the instincts. Whenever Dashiell Oliver was going behind the net, I think Tony was calling for it. I think the bench was calling for it. You had a guy at the right circle, and Tony picks his spot from his office again.
Yeah, great shot. And again, he does a really good job of getting down that dot and being prepared to shoot it. And we make a nice play on the side change. And you know, as bad as we played in the first period, we didn't defend well. We made mistakes in transition. We turned pucks over. That's how we ended up down 2-0. But we go into the intermission, and it's only 2-1.
And Gleb Barem, you have a fight in the 3rd period. The place exploded. That's Lincoln Stars hockey against the Omaha Lancers. What did that do for your bench? I know the game may have been out of reach at that point, but Gleb making it known that you guys aren't just going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, it was probably out of reach at that point. And, you know, ultimately, Gleb did what we needed there. He stood up and said, "Hey, I'm gonna drop my gloves and I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna let the Omaha Lancers know that, you know, this is a hard place to play." And you know, I was really proud of him. He did a great job and it brought some energy to our bench. And unfortunately, it was a little too late.
Griffin Jarecki and Lucas Wallen missed their 2nd consecutive games. Any updates on the status of those 2 forwards?
I would suspect you'll see Lucas before you see Griff. Griff is a few weeks, I suspect. He's got an upper body and a lower body injury, so he took a pretty dirty hit last week, and unfortunately, no call on that, but unfortunately that was in the Sunday game. You know, nothing major, but he'll be out for hopefully only 2 more weeks, and I'm optimistic that we'll see Lucas back in the lineup next week. We'll see how his week goes as far as his rehab and everything, but as long as he stays on course, he should be in next weekend.
And going back for one last question, at Dashiell Oliver's play, I mean, he's buzzing through the neutral zone, creating offense. You put him out on the 4-on-4 in the 3rd period too. How much confidence do you have in the 16-year-old over the last 2 games here?
Same amount of confidence I had when he went back to midget. I love him. He plays fast. He plays physical. He's playing confident. You know, he's an unbelievable kid. Like, the smile's always on his face. He's so appreciative to be here. He's like a sponge. He just wants to learn, and you know, I wish we could have kept him, but I have to trust the developmental process at this tender age of 16 or 17, whatever he is at this point, and so, you know, we'll let him finish his midget season. We'll bring him back and let him experience playoff hockey, and then he'll be a big part of our roster moving forward.
Rocky, thanks for doing this. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
That was Coach's comments presented by Southside Auto Tech. Stars dropped this one 5-2 against the Omaha Lancers. 3 big games on the road coming up starting Friday night in Des Moines at Buccaneer Arena. We'll see you then.